Hello and welcome back to Sun Bear Specialty Coffee Roasters. Today, a much needed video. One of the most responded things I have by far on the channel right now is the video that I have about adjusting the OPV valve. I've got a couple different ways that I want to show you all how you can test the bars of pressure on your Rancilio Silvia. Most of you are probably aware that there exists such a thing as a pressure gauge that you can attach to your portafilter. So I have purchased one. It took it a while to get here, but this is it right here. You can see it's got a little water in it because I've already used it once to just see what it would do. Basically, you just take off the bottom of your portafilter, which should unscrew fairly easy, or if you need some little tool to do that. And then you're just going to tighten this on. And then around here, you're going to want to make sure that this is loose enough that you can at least see the bars of pressure in there. So it's a little hard to see already on mine. That's a 10 right there. So 9 would be somewhere between 8 and 10 right there. And so what my goal would be for today is to test this thing two ways. One, I'm going to use the pressurized portafilter test. I'm going to see how many bars of pressure that gives me. And then after that, I'm going to go adjust by taking off the lid and doing it the other way that I showed in the OPV valve video before. And I'm excited about the way that this is going to turn out. This is pretty well running shots right now, but as I noticed earlier, it may be a little under. And so, yeah, maybe we get to adjust it and get it back where it needs to be. Things that you will need to be able to do this portafilter test. One, you need to order this part and get the portafilter gauge off of, I ordered mine off of eBay. I believe it was about $35, and this is what it looks like. Now I can just come down here to my gauge and see what kind of pressure we get. Just going to turn that on. Hopefully you can see. Okay, although that is really cool in and of itself, I can test this with that. The goal of today's video is not just to do a pressurized test of my Rancilio Silvia. I also want to compare and contrast with the method that I taught you guys before, which is just to use basically a weight scale and to weigh out the amount of mil that are coming out of your OPV valve. Now, if you don't know, the OPV valve is the shorter of the two pipes that are in your water tank in the back. The easiest way to notice the difference between the two of them is that the longer one is fiber gated at the end of it, so it's got that, if you can't just tell by the length of them. So what I'm going to do for the purpose of this test today is I'm going to take the actual OPV valve. I've learned a new little trick that's even better than my method before of taping it, which is I just use this that comes from steaming milk. So I figured out some new things since the last time I showed you guys how to do this. One is you can use your milk pitcher to just kind of run the OPV valve through instead of scale down, so that you can just run it into here to test the mils coming out of it. And this is what it looks like. So I've got my scale on top here, just kind of sitting flatly. It's an Acaia scale, in case you were wondering. It's just a basic Acaia scale. And then I have just my milk pitcher with the OPV valve ran through there. So that I have more water than I should have, which means that I have not enough bars of pressure coming to my group head. So this is correct in that I am low on my bars of pressure, probably somewhere around 8, like it said. So now we're going to do the OPV valve job and get to see how we fix that. Okay, like before, everybody pointed out to me that my power probably should not be on. I'm not going to, so I have unplugged the machine now so that I can operate on this a little bit. I'm going to use a Phillips head screwdriver, which looks like this, just pretty basic. I'm going to remove my water tank out, so you can just kind of set these tubes to the side, and yeah, they'll dribble a little bit, that's not a big deal. And you also could just put your tank there where it can catch some of it. And I'm going to remove the screws from the top of my Rancilio. Again, it is unplugged, so no need to question my safety. My sanity, on the other hand, you probably could question, because I was crazy enough to do that the first time, and who knows, if it wasn't for you guys, I'd probably do it again. So it's got 4 screws that come out real gently. Make sure that you hold on to these and do not set them too far away. I'm going to just put them in my milk pitcher like this, where I know where they're at. And then I'm going to tuck these out of the way and remove this from the top. Okay? And at that point, you're exposing all of the open parts, including the OPV valve, which is right here. And we're going to get into this in just a second. Adjustable wrench. And I'm going to reach into here and adjust. This one is going to go left. And that's just loosening that up so that this one can be moved right, basically. And my goal with this is just to go 1. But the thing is, you'll see as you move this one's turning as well. So I have to lock this one in, kind of finger tight, or something, find something to hold that in there. I'll say that one more time and I'll just show you. This one has to be loosened, so you go left with that one. This one, because I have lower bars of pressure, is going to go to the right. So I'm actually going to turn it to the right, but I have to have something to hold it in place while I do so. So I'm going to use my adjustable wrench and just kind of prop it there where this thing cannot turn right while the other one is turning right. And I'm going to go for just a little bit of an adjustment on this. Hopefully you can see. It's really hard to work on this thing and do the camera at the same time, but I'm going to try and go, let's go 2 to the left, or to the right, sorry. So I'm going back the way I originally came from. In the beginning, my problem with this was that it was too many bars of pressure. So now I want more bars of pressure at the group head. So I'm turning that. You'll see that the top one is not turning with it. That's really important. 1, a little bit there, and maybe just a little bit more. Okay, so that's maybe like 1 full rotation. If you need a wrench for this, I believe it's an 13/16 is the exact wrench that you need for this, but I don't have mine at the moment. So you can just tighten this back down, and you want that to be tight. You want that to be tight. Top one tightens this so that this one cannot be tightened anymore. You just put these back in place, run your tubes back through there, put your lid back on. Don't screw it down yet, because we may need to adjust it even more, and so you don't want to have to do all that again. So we're going to put our tank back in place. You want your tank to be about half full. Half full is kind of a perfect place. It's enough to get the water in there, and then we'll see where we go from there. I'm going to do, let's see, I think I'm going to do the portafilter test first with the gauge, and let's see what kind of bars of pressure we're showing. All right, I'm going to plug my machine back in and turn my power on. Turn that on. Let's see. Looks like right about 9. I think we're dead on. So I'm going to stop this. So this is why we're doing this test in the first place. If this works both ways, 9 bars of pressure, you know when you produce a shot, it's going to be better. All right. I'm just going to do this test. OPV valve again. I'm going to set my scale up here. Okay, just run your hot water pressure first and make sure that it's working correctly. So turn on your steam valve with the hot water on. Make sure that it's working like this. So I'm getting water out. Once it's kind of regulated and running smoothly, you know that your OPV valve is working correctly. So at that point, I can go ahead and turn it back off. And I bet now when I go to test that, it's going to work just fine. So I can go back up here, turn on your hot water. That water come to the top, it's coming through. Turn on your timer and go. There we go. Again, 130 for every 30 seconds. So I'm at 10 seconds right now, 12 seconds. And I want 130. Should be dead on. All right, I'm going to stop it at 130 for 30 seconds. So at 31 seconds, I'm 117. That's a little much. So probably I'm okay with where that's at. If anything, it's going to be a little more than 9 bars of pressure. So I think at this point, the good thing to do would be, let's run a shot and see what we got. I'm going to put my basket back in. This is an IMS basket that I have. I'm going to attach the bottom so the shot can be split again. And then I'm going to go ahead and put some coffee in, and we're going to get a shot going and see what kind of shots we're able to pour now with this all in place. This I'll do 18 grams. This coffee, as you'll see, is a little bit darker than I sometimes go, but I'll do a little puck prep here. Just kind of pat that down here. Get a nice even spin and then press down. And that's what it's going to look like. Okay, and so I've got my scale zeroed out. And this is probably a good reminder for anybody, but go with what you know. I know light roast coffee. I don't know darker roast coffee, even if it is the ones that I've roasted. And prep my puck. And let's give it another shot here. All right. Okay. Down. Gonna go ahead and go for some pre-infusion. There we go, getting coffee. Yeah, I think this might be a little bit better. Definitely looks tastier. And gonna stop at 36 grams. All right, stir this one up. And cheers to you guys. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That tastes like a shot. I don't mind drinking this whole thing. That is El Salvador Montevideo, or Montevideo, however you say it. Very nice. That's actually the first time I've poured espresso with this one, and tastes fantastic. I'm drinking it all. Smooth, a little bit of acidity. Yeah. All right, there you go. That's 2 ways of doing your OPV valve on the Rancilio Silvia. Again, I'll remind you, my machine has been made within this past year. So if you have a machine that is like 10 years or older, you may have different issues than I have. But what I would suggest is make sure that you guys use that water valve and bleed out some water out of your steam wand first. Make sure that's working. Then if you go back to the OPV valve and it's not getting water, maybe you have a problem with your OPV valve. But in the meantime, thank you all for checking out Sun Bear Specialty Coffee Roasters. Like, subscribe, ask questions, guys. I love answering, building our coffee community up, and we'll see you real soon. Thanks.